set visible. So we want to see the frame, right? So there is a property called visible property which has to be set to
True.
true. So many of you have still doubts why we use getter and setter methods, where we use getter and setter methods. And when it was asked in the midterm test also, many of you didn't write or didn't answer it properly. So in GUIs, you will be seeing how they are used. So what you see there, it is a setter method for the JFrame. Okay. So now let us see whether we get the output. Did we get the output?
Yes.
We got the outputs.
Just
Frame.
content.
But this is something, occupying more of the page. So there is the next property is you can set the size. Set size to something like this. Now when I give the coordinates 300, 300, how does it map? Is it miles, kilometers, inches, what? Very good. It is pixels. Okay. So the next question on this one is, where is the origin on the computer screen? From where it starts counting 300?
Top left.
Top left. Any other answer? I heard something bottom also. No? Does everybody's answer is top left? I don't see enough. Yes?
Yes.
Maybe? Who is that maybe? Okay, I'll clarify that. So for computer, the computer screen, the origin is on the top left. That means it is going to count 0 from there and it will display. But if you are a mathematics student, our origin is from the bottom. Okay, so this you have to always keep in mind when you are placing the images or when you are doing the graphical user interface. This is very important. Okay, now let us see how our output changes. Is this the better output than the previous one? It looks better. Okay, now the next thing is, the next important one is, see when I run this code, what does it say? It is a simple frame. Now let us take the example of our rooms in our college. There are no numbers, room number is displayed. What happens? Always we are confused what it is, right? Even if it is displayed so well and even I am sending so many emails, still our core students are missing the information. Agree? That's okay. So that means here we have to make it more informative. How? So by setting the title. So JF dot set title. So what shall we give the name to this frame? Our first beautiful frame. First frame? Okay. Not even LA. First frame. Okay. Now where you are anticipating this might be seen? Which part of the frame? So we all know that if you are a Windows user, you know where is the title. It is always at the top of the window. So now this is something coming slowly. Okay. So these are the minimum things what you have to do if you want your frame to be visible. Now what we did is, or where we have reached is creating a basket. Now we have to, or creating a canvas. Now we start designing it. Now we start painting it. We have to place how you want. But the thing is, what you are going to place? What are the components you are going to place? So in Java, now for example, if you want to draw on the canvas, you know that you got so many colors. Then how do I place, or how do I design my frame? So there are many components that are available, which eventually we will be covering in every lecture. Okay, So for the topic what we are doing today is understanding of the graphical user interface, how we create and what are the minimum steps we need to do that is shown here. So are you clear with this one or do you got any doubts? I'll pause for 5 minutes. Just think what you are seeing on the projector, what is written on the board. If something is not matching, if something you didn't really understand, then ask me. Once that is clarified, then we'll move on to the next concept. So we'll be moving on to the other concepts, other components. Yes, Raj?
When we are creating a reference, what do we create inside the constructor, like the JFrame, customer user? When we have to declare the outside the constructor or inside the constructor?
Okay. So I'm sorry, can you be a bit louder, please, because we have to wait. You are asking a very good question.
No,
That's
I
valuable.
surely can't hear you.
Yeah.
I won't hear
Bit
you.
louder.
The good actor.
Yeah.
When we are creating reference of the JFrame,
Mm.
and what are we creating inside the constructor? And
Okay.
why we have to, what is the meaning of creating outside the constructor?
Okay. Okay, let me just be more clear even to the whole room what his doubt is. I divided creating the object in 2 steps. Outside the constructor, I created the reference. Then in the constructor, what I did is, 1 minute, I'll just add that comment. So in the constructor, I have initialize. So his question is why we did this? Why don't we put this here? So anybody has any answer with this one with your understanding of classes and objects?
Objects are like give a reference outside the constructor because to invoke the reference in the constructor. That's
And-
the reason it will be.
And in the constructor what happens?
We can invoke the objects like initialize.
Okay, yes, good answer. So did anybody understand what Sohail was saying?
Yeah.
Or do you have your own answers? Please come out with the answers, then I'll clarify. Any other answer? Yushin? Try. Saurabh? Okay. So here, the idea of writing the initialization in the constructor is, we've been learning this from week 1 and we have just agreed also that the purpose of constructor is what?
Initialize.
The purpose of the constructor is to initialize. So what happens is, whatever information you want to initialize, if you write that inside the constructor, you are guaranteed that it will do the job. If you put it outside, then what happens if you are not assured that it will be done? So this is something like when you are carrying your luggage. If you check in it, so you are assured that it will come with you. But if you just put it without any this thing, will it come to you? We are not assured. So the whole idea is you have to do it with the person who is meant to do that job. So constructor is given in Java for us to use it in case you want to initialize the objects. So and also at the time of creation of the object, constructor is called implicitly. So we are less assured that this job is always done in a right way. Okay? So that's why what I did was, I put a reference here saying that these are the objects I am going to use. These are the data members of this class. Then how they have to be initialized or when, what has to be done, that information is given in the constructor. Okay, so if you do it outside, compiler might not throw any error, but it is not the right way of doing it. Okay, So always for initializing we have to use the constructor. So that's why I have put the initializing statement inside the constructor. And also one more thing, we want this job to be done at the time of creation of the object, right? We don't want it after. So that's why that information is put in the constructor. Any other doubts? Yes.
We have written that set visible true. What exactly that true will do?
What happens here is, now when I say JFrame, what happens, there are so many properties are available in this one. For example, there is a property called, now we know that there are data members for a class, is that right?
Yeah.
So in JFrame, there is a data member called visible. So what it will do is, if the value of visible is set to true, then you can see the frame. If you don't want to see the frame and which is default, if it is set to false, then you can't see the frame. By default, what happens is when you are running the program, always visible is set to false. You won't see the frame. So once you set this true, then only you will be able to see. See, this is something like when you enter into the lift, there are many options available. But the option which you opt, which you press, that only will happen, right? If you press to 2, then it will take you to 2, but the rest of the options won't work. Is that right? So similarly for the frame object, there are many properties available. So these are the basic ones which has to be set. So if you don't want, you won't use it. If you want, you will use it. There is no default behavior. For example, let us say if you board into the lift, will it start taking you to all the floors? No, there is no default behavior for lift, right? It will do only depending on your action. So our next topic is based on this one, why we have to do this and how this is done. Okay?
Ma'am, for the set title,
So,
ma'am.
1 minute. Hopefully the
Yes.
doubt is clear that there are properties which has to be set depending on your requirement of the project, how you want to see that. Okay? Yes.
Ma'am, from the visibility we can see the frame.
Yes.
Okay, from the size we can get the size of the frame.
We'll put the size. We can
Oh.
fix the size.
Okay, and from the title we are getting the title bar name
Yes.
in the top left.
Yes.
But is that possible to get it in the middle?
Yeah, we can do that. We can do all that. There are many methods available. We can do that with the help of the program. You don't have a direct method for that, but you have to do it a bit of programming. So how that can be done and what are the methods that are used, we will be learning eventually. Okay? And at that time, I'll definitely give the answer for that.